Judd
I'm Pam.
And 20 years ago, we were castmates with Pedro Zamora on MTV's Real World. Yeah, it's 20 years. Thank you. Pam looks exactly the same, and I look like I've been sleeping outside since then. No, I know you saw the pictures, you can tell that I'm not lying. There's so many things we could say about Pedro Zamora. Pedro came over from Cuba when he was 6 years old. He tested positive when he was 17. Then he dedicated his life to educating young people about HIV and AIDS, hoping that they would get the information and protection that he never had. He died at 22. He died on November 11th, 1994. It was the morning after the last episode of our season aired. It's because Pedro had a sense of drama. President Clinton said, not long after he passed away, that Pedro had become a member of all of our families. No one could say that they don't know someone living with AIDS because we all knew Pedro. He became an international face of AIDS at a time when it was so desperately needed. So, there's many stories we can tell about Pedro. We would like to thank the AIDS Memorial Grove for renaming your scholarship in his name. Pedro's entire mission was to educate young people, and it's wonderful to know that will continue in his name. So thank you. So we're going to tell two stories about Pedro. Two. Story number one.
Pedro was about 21 years old, living in Miami. He came racing home after having lunch with his friend, and he's carrying this CD.
Yeah, he excitedly tells his roommate Alex that his best friend Eric has just played him this most amazing song, and he lent him the disc. You gotta hear it.
So he pops it on, and he plays it for Alex, and he's shouting as they listen, "It's amazing, right?"
And Alex agrees. He's nodding. He goes, "Yeah, Pedro, this is the 1812 Overture." And Pedro says, "Yeah, you know it too?"
Story number two.
Okay, so this one gets a tad explicit, but I think this crowd can handle it.
So, roughly around the same time, Pedro was giving testimony before a congressional committee.
Okay, just to be clear, this is a congressional committee. Like, Pedro's in a suit and tie. He's sitting there at the long oak table. There's like a bouquet of microphones in front of him, and there's the tribunal of congressmen and congresswomen. It's the real deal. He's talking before Congress.
And Pedro is speaking about health and education for young people. And he recalls for the committee this exchange he recently had at a high school when he was speaking.
Yeah, he tells them that I was speaking about sex and safer sex practices when this 15-year-old had a question. He wanted to know if I had a cut on my finger and I was fingering my girlfriend, if she had HIV, can I get HIV that way?
Now, the importance of this, Pedro explained, is that this boy is asking the question in the only way he knows how. And so the real language is important. And using the vocabulary of young people when addressing young people is really the only way to speak to young people.
Now, sidebar. When we saw the video of his testimony of him talking about Congress, we were thinking just what you were thinking. Was Pedro just talking about a high schooler fingering his girlfriend in front of Congress? Yes, he was.
We can learn a lot from Pedro, even today, in both what he tried to teach and the spirit in which he had his life.
Pedro told us, when young people hear an older person, like ourselves now, say, "That's not how it's done. There's a process." We've never been able to do that before. Young people will say, "Let me try." When they're shown a wall that reaches far and wide and up to the heavens, and they've been told that we've just never really been able to get around this, a young person will say, "Let me try and climb it."
It's not naivete, it's spirit. It's like hearing a 135-year-old song for the first time and wanting to share it. And it's knowing that to lead youth, you have to let youth lead.
Pedro was right. He always said that young people need to talk to younger people. using their language, their culture, and sometimes going before Congress and talking about fingering your girlfriend. We have to let young people talk to each other, and we have to empower them to do that. We have to give them the platform.
Our greatest hope for all the recipients of the Pedro Zamora Scholarship is that they continue to lead. Be brave, be spirited.
When you hear the music, be moved. And when you see the wall, you climb. Thank you.